You said this whole thing about hiding and secret stashing, right? In my first marriage, as soon as I got married, when I touched my grandmother's feet, she looked up at me and she said, be careful with your money, okay? Always have a little bit stashed away for yourself. That was her number one and only piece of advice for me actually about marriage. And I think a lot of women do this, right? Yeah. We have a secret stash. Now, that secret stash has now changed. Some of it used to be in the Attica Dabba, used to put like a few hundred dirhams a month. Maybe now it's translated into one of those new banking accounts where you don't need a salary statement to open the account. But actually that puts women on a huge back foot because all your assets are kind of stashed away in cash. Am I right, Parul, when you speak to people?
So, I would say that don't take this in negative context or negative connotation, because stashing is saving for your rainy days, as you said, and both men and women should do it. The idea is you're saving for your bad times and you only plan for your bad times in your good times. Yeah, otherwise it's too late. And while you're doing that, again, probably you'll feel I'm repeating myself, but have an open conversation and both partners should do it.
But don't keep it secret.
Don't keep a secret, but do it. Save. Okay. Have a pot
of
money. Yeah, but maybe in a bank account, because that's a more, rational way to do it. Because look at where inflation is. If you're just going to put a stack of money at home, you're losing value. It's depreciating, right? Put it in a bank account. Let it earn some interest. Or put it in investments, let it work for you. If your money is not working for you, you'll have to work for money till you die. So you got to be smart.
Write that down. Absolutely. Write that down.
That should be on t-shirts.
Yeah, seriously, Parul. But I think it's true. At least I know this with all of my female friendships. I know more about their intimate lives, more about their gynecological past than I do about the relationships that their partners and them share with money. So this whole thing of infidelity, does it count as cheating?
What?
If I have a secret stash and I don't tell my partner about it and I'm putting money away, and for years we've been married, say 20 years we've been married, and I'm stashing and stashing and stashing, and one day he finds out, is that the same thing as being like, is that infidelity?
It goes slightly into the realm of financial infidelity because it wasn't disclosed. But it also then goes into the realm of a white lie, because it's not like you're taking that. Unless you're taking that money gambling and then somehow losing your joint asset or whatever, then that
the intention behind.
Yeah,
I think that's a big. Yeah, what's the intention behind doing that? Are you keeping it for the family, or you're trying to do something, something shady out of it? So what's
you're just keeping it for yourself. What you want to do with it is up to you, right? But you're enforcing scarcity on the family to keep that money aside.
Exactly.
Your partner is thinking, but we could have gone on that holiday and you said that there's no money, but now to in your account, I can see there's
a problem which happens, sorry Malvika, when you don't have a goal in place. You don't know what your income is, you don't know what your expenses are, and then you want to plan a holiday, you don't know if you have money or not, because you're not aware, you never planned it.
Yeah. Also circling back to what you asked, why not tell your partner? I think my question will always be, have that stash. What is the reason that you're not disclosing this particular financial stash of yours to your partner? Like what's getting in the way of you communicating this? Because then that's another kind of red flag that we've got to first address.
And it's true, I think many of us don't actually go and speak with relationship coaches to understand why these behavior patterns occur, right? Sometimes you want to stash because you don't trust yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to stash because you don't trust other people, full stop. It's not just your partner.
You do it because your neighbors are doing it. Sometimes you do it because once your friend told you she's doing it, that's why you want to do it.
Or you saw it on TikTok and you're like, oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, that's happening now as well. Oh, I saw it on TikTok, let me do this.
Okay.
I feel what is very important to you, you pay attention to that. So you invest a lot of time and money in your relationships because they matter to you.
Yeah.
Health is another aspect, right? You invest a lot of time, money in your health because you want to stay healthy. Then why do you want to ignore money? We agreed, right, that money, the power of money is undeniable.
Yeah.
So why would I not want to invest your time?
Correct. And if you can get a trainer for your body, you should get a trainer for your money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And your mind.
And your mind.
And your mind. Okay, I want to ask about what are those questions that you wish every couple could answer before they sign the dotted line? Before they get into a partnership, guys sit down and have this mandatory conversation with each other. And unless you have this conversation, you're not moving forward. And this is specifically to do with money.
So financial, yeah. I think I would start with a understanding what the initial relationship with money has been. So understand a bit more about, again, going back into parents, how parents handled money, what he or she has understood and learned about money, how that's been implemented. Then I would go into what are your financial goals? Are there any? And retirement and children. I think that would be this. It would float around this as well. Financial goals, what money means to you, what having it and the lack of it, what is your response to it? And because having children, especially going into marriage, is a really important conversation.
And a big game changer financially.
Big game changer. What do you want to do with that? Like, do you want 1 kid? Do you want 2 kids? Because if you want 2 kids...
Or no kids.
Yeah. Because, it just changes the game, financial game completely. So I know it's not completely money area, but I think children would be a very big conversation that I would have, because then everything changes.
That's a great place to start, Megs. Honestly, I feel like if you can resolve these and come to some kind of understanding before you sign the dotted line, you're going to save yourself a lot of pain and heartbreak.
And just to go into a further nuance of kids is, what if we can't have kids? IVF. How expensive is IVF? Okay, none of that succeeds. We have to adopt. What is your mindset to adoption? How much money goes into adopting somebody from which part of the country? There's so much of this that you have to go into before you get married.
Yes, and yes. Okay, Parul, what are your thoughts? 3 questions.
I think it's a very difficult one for me, but I would say more is less. In this case, the more you talk, less it is. But like, Meghna has very, very rightly put it across that trying to understand what the objective or the goal or the aspirations are of an individual. Is there something that resonates with you, or is it something off track which you think you cannot deal with? If the basics are, I guess, then I think you are okay to ride the journey together. And these conversations are ever evolving. It's not a one-time conversation that you have to have and then that's it, the job is done. You have to keep the conversation ongoing and recurring.
Check that.
Absolutely. Yes. You change, right? You evolve. Your thought process changes. Maybe at this stage you want to have 1 kid. Maybe 2 years down the line you don't want to have kids. That can change as well.
True that.
So keep the conversation going. It's not a one-time conversation that you're going to have before.
I think that's such an important point you bring up, Parul, which is that if for anybody watching this and thinking, okay, how am I going to do this? If first of all, you've got to have the conversation. I think equipping our young women with the words, the vocabulary, the strength, the confidence to just bring up the subject. It doesn't mean he's going to walk. It doesn't mean that the relationship is going to end. It doesn't mean we're so afraid of things like rejection and abandonment and all this other psychological stuff, right? That we're like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about it. I'd much rather talk about the lehenga that I'm going to wear, right? So I think that's number 1 is to have the conversation. And I think number 2, like you very rightly pointed out, is just like every 3 years you do your visa or every 1 year you do a appraisal at work, you got to check back and realign those goals, right? I want to sort of close our conversation with an interesting conversation that I had with my brother-in-law. He's a person who works with founders and startups and venture capital and all this like cool stuff. They do that kind of cool new company stuff. And he said something really interesting about how do you manage the finances of a house together. So let's say I'm entering a marriage. We know that our monthly expenses is 10K. Should we, option number 1, go 50-50? No matter what, you bring 5K to the table every month. I bring 5K to the table every month. We create a joint account. We put our household expenses in there. Uske alawa, outside of that, what I do with that money is up to me. Rolls Royce, save it, stash it, put it in a tree, up to you, up to me. Option number 1. Option number 2 is, it is input based. That means this year, you're making $1 million, I'm making $250,000. So our expenses should be split as 1:4. Okay. Option number 2, which is an input driven way of doing things. Option number 3 is that we put into that joint account based on, or we actually pull out of our together finances based on our needs. So let's say I have 7 dependents. I have to take care of my sister, I have to take care of my brother, I have to take care of my children, my ex, my alimony, whatever else. And you have nobody to take care of. So I will pull out of our joint nest how much I need, and you pull out based on your need. Which of these 3 would be the way that you would move forward?
The way I moved forward a year ago, because I made this huge career shift, which meant that my financial standing changed completely. Yeah, it was a complete 360-degree shift. But for my self-preservation, for my identity and ego and just self-worth, we decided that with how much ever we had, utilities of the house would be split 50-50.
So diva, etisala, jo bhi, like
Rent. Yeah. We didn't move into a bigger apartment because that's the rent that I could afford. Anything more and I couldn't. So we made all these adjustments. Anything over and above, like going out for movies, meeting friends, all of that, I had to be okay with letting him at that time provide for me. And I had to psychologically be okay with it. So I think that's what I don't know. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong answer to this, because I think it's extremely subjective, because relationships are extremely subjective. People are extremely subjective. And money also, at the end of the day, is extremely subjective as well. But this is the formula that I tried. And I'd say I came out of it fairly in one piece. Not completely, because the hit it took on my ego was terrible. I was
But
so sad.
Then you recognize it, you acknowledge it, and you worked on it. Because it could really kill people and pull you down.
And the relationship.
Yes, absolutely. You've come out of it, so you've done a good job.
Amazing stuff, Meg. And I think that's a great
mistakes, so we do acknowledge it, and I think that's a bigger win.
A lot of the credit goes to him as well, because at no point in time, even though that power, that dynamic had shifted financially, at no point in time did he hold it over me. So these were green flags for me before I got married as well. At no point in time was he like, yeah, but I'm paying more of the bills, so you better listen to what I have to say. Not once.
And I think what impresses me when you mentioned that your husband now is already talking about goals and financial planning and retirement plans. So he's looking forward.
Yeah.
So I think that's
looking forward is a big one. Big one. What do you think, Parul? How would you do it?
I think I would go for option B, which is on the basis of inputs. Like if one is making more, then he gets to, pull in a bigger portion. And we keep reviewing it, because if you're making more today, that doesn't mean that you're going to make the same amount of money tomorrow. It can change. Circumstances can change. So it should be on, on the basis of how much money you're able to bring on the table. As per that, we share it, and then we move ahead.
Amazing. Well, I hope that this has been a useful conversation. I hope that you go back to your partners. Hope you go back to your relationships and have some of these tough conversations. Because I think very often, unfortunately, the only time we talk about money in a relationship is when it's breaking. We only talk about money when it's a divorce. We only talk about money when it's someone passing away and you have to deal with the loss of a person and things. Yeah. But it's so unhealthy, na? It's like,
right.
You don't start working out when you go to the doctor and he says you're going to have a heart attack. Right?
So interesting point I want to make here is that don't compare your financial goals or results are going to be as quick as probably going to a gym. You go to the gym today, tomorrow you feel sore. You know that something is working, your body is working, but your relationship with money is not going to give you that quick results.
And also it's going to feel sore. I think that's a very important thing that you bring up. That the first time you bring it up, it is going to itch. It is going to be a bit weird and it's going to be uncomfortable and you're going to want to cry and you're going to have a lump in your throat, but do it anyway. You know?
Do it scared.
Yeah, do it scared.
You're scared, that's fine. Just do it scared anyway, because it's what you brought up. It's such a great avenue to learn from a limiting belief that you might have about money.
Yeah.
To first recognize it yourself.
Yeah.
Then bring it up. And then recognize it as partners or in the relationship. And the only way through is through, not around. Usually you gotta try around it. Yeah, we should just go through it. Like you said, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be icky. You're going to regret bringing it up. But you know what?
Do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Trust us. Once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah.
Third time, a whole lot braver. Well, thank you. Meghana Mundkur, find her on Instagram, follow her stories, and thank you for bringing so much of insight as a coach and as somebody who thinks about the way we think so much. Thank you, Meg.
Thank you, Malu, for inviting me. This has been incredible. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Parul, for being here and to bring your insights and Yeah, thank you for
Thank you.
bringing all of this money wisdom to the table.
I get to interact with both of you. It was lovely. Thank you so much.
More Bang for Her Buck is a show that's about getting women to talk money. So talk money. Talk money as much as it hurts. Talk money. Do your numbers. Do your homework. Write it down. See it in black and white. And I promise you, there has never been an exercise with money that I have gone into that I have not come out with 20/20 vision about what I want in my life. So I think if there's one piece of advice, it should be that. More Bang for Her Buck is a show that's produced by Brown on the Outside, and we're very proud to be creating these meaningful conversations about subjects that matter. So follow us, like us, share us, tell a friend about us, and keep supporting the conversation. Thank you.